Peace, y'all. I'm here to share a couple words as always. And the word of the day is, not only is patience a virtue, but so is love, peace, and trust. So we're going to get into this right now. As I'm on the way to the train, on the way to the stew. So everybody knows the concept. Patience is a virtue. And patience is something that we have to learn every day through and through, right? Especially if you live in a city where everything is so fast-paced, instant gratification is at its all-time high, and people are just used to everything being given to them in life. But in reality, that's not how the ways of nature works or the world works, you know what I'm saying? That's why the saying, go with the flow, is more appreciated, to remember that patience is key, because we tend to be molded by our environment. So, I'm from a city, and being that I'm from a city, I was born and raised with moving fast-paced and instant gratification always being a thing, especially when I used to work for a lot of food jobs. And one thing about food jobs, especially in the city, because I live in Jersey City, which is not too far from the city, aka NYC, is that people want their food right then and there, right? So I remember working where the process of DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Chow Now, I think that's what it is, first was developed and integrated into the food industry, which was around 2020 because of the fact of the pandemic. The pandemic definitely shifted a lot of people's mental and how the environment shifted their physical, right? So, for instance, working at a food industry, anything already. See, I knew that was going to turn into a Target. Oh my gosh. They're putting a Target right by the PATH train. Hold on, I'm about to show y'all when I cross the street. But they're going to have a Target inside in a CVS. That shit is crazy. And this whole building was built in 2.5 years. Can you believe that? And this is another thing that I'm going to talk about, but that's not even the main thing I want to talk about right now. But how are you going to have that next to a high-rise apartment? Man, that's what I was saying. So working in the food industry, especially in the city, definitely shows you how people want their food right then and there, right after they order it, which is very unrealistic, right? So when it comes to working, I never worked for fast food, but I worked for, I want to say like semi-fast food, because no, I was not working for no McDonald's. Actually, I'm lying. I did work for freaking Shake Shack, but I hated it because it was the first Shake Shack that they built in Hoboken, and they had me as the door handler, and it was freaking brick. 2020, April, it's brick. Why am I opening and closing the door? Because it's a population control type of thing. But that's not something I'm going to get into for real. What I want to get into is the instant gratification aspect of being the customer at a fast food restaurant, right? You order, you expect your meal to be done in 15 minutes, which is highly unrealistic, because if you want your meal done to be in 15 minutes, if you order chicken or pork, I guarantee you that's not going to be cooked well. But that could go with anything that happens in the universe. So, at the train. So a lot of times when people manifest, they want their manifestations or goals to happen instantly. And that's something that needs to be unlearned for real, because of the fact that that's not realistic in the ways of nature. So the saying, patience is a virtue, because forever learning, forever a student, We have to have the patience to just sit there and wait. Sit there and wait for our goals and manifestations to come into fruition, come into our reality, and then be grateful that it finally arrives. And sometimes people can let their environment affect them, which makes it hard to allow your goals and manifestations to naturally come into fruition, because we tend to live up here a lot more than we live in our own bodies, right? And I just saw 111 on the train. That means I'm on to something, y'all. I'm on to something. Talking about some real-ish, on to something. But something that I've definitely been learning in my own realm of life, because we all are interconnected, even though we are sharing a shared collective consciousness, we also have our own consciousness, which this is the multiverse, you know what I'm saying? These phones is the multiverse, because we're all living in different realities at once. My thing is, what I'm going through right now in life that's showing me lots of patience is definitely me not having a consistent flow of money, aka a job, which that's something that I've never experienced before, right? I've been working since I was 17, I'm 22, and it's been about 5 months since I haven't had a job. However, you ask, how am I surviving? Every day is an abundance. Every day is a day for me to learn or put in the skills of things that I really love to do that's going to bring me money, which is crocheting. I had a lot more time to crochet. Dancing. I was in my dancing program that happens for 2 weeks, once a year in July, called 36 Chambers of Styles. I also have my music career that is flourishing, so I'm able to build more of my catalog. Okay, good. And I have 2 albums that are coming out. Another thing that's unrealistic is setting goals, because even though that we have a goal, a set plan for things to come out, like I wanted both of my albums to come out by the end of this year in December. However, that was unrealistic because patience is a virtue, right? Yes, I planted the seeds. Yes, I did the work to create those 2 albums. But no, I'm not releasing either of those albums because they require features, and the features require time management and scheduling, right? Patience is a virtue. So now we go to love is a virtue, and trust. So trust, I'm gonna go with trust first. Trusting the process. Trusting the process. You know what I'm saying? We have to trust people. We have to trust the universe. We have to trust that what we're doing 1% every day, getting better. We're getting better 1% every day. And just trusting the universe got us. We are not born to be suffering. We are not born to be sad. We're born to create. We're born to feel every ounce of each emotion. We're born to connect, communicate, and having trust for whatever is you have a goal for will happen. If you tell yourself that you're going to have a great day, trust that. If you tell yourself that you're going to be an NBA star, trust that. It's all about what you're putting in the work and trusting that it's going to be worth something soon, one day. Because our bodies really don't know the difference between the past, present, and the future, like I said before. So don't let yourself get stuck in your mind, and you have to trust the process. Greatness is a process, so why not put trust into it? That's why trust is a virtue. So then we go to love and peace. I'm gonna say love for last, because that's really something that's the heart, from the soul, from the heart. But peace is a virtue. Peace, every day there's a day in this 3D that shows us to step out of our character, that has us complaining or worrisome or this and that and third. That's a negative frequency, but we always have to try to find peace in our day. Peace that we're going to make it day by day, and that's why peace is a virtue, but I'm going to get back to that when I get off my train. Okay, and I'm back, y'all. So back to my point when I say peace is a virtue for real, because as the days get shorter, the weather changes, the season changes, it's gonna get colder. It also brings in, the holidays and crowdedness. So people visit their families all the time, and it starts to get more crowded. And me, I don't like unnecessary people who don't walk with a purpose. Because that's one thing that you're taught when you're born and raised in a city. Walk with a purpose, right? I can let that alter my peace. I can let it ruin my day. Because a lot of times people do not look up. A lot of times people just live on their phone. And a lot of times they don't even know where they're going. Because they're not watching where they're going, which is sad. And a lot of times, common sense is not too common anymore. So, in order for me to not let that alter my reality, alter my day, I have to practice peace every day. Because we always say how we want these things. We want peace, we want confidence, we want love, but it's all just a practice every day. Because every day we're going to be tested for the things that we want in our life. And that is why peace is a virtue. Okay? And last but not least, my favorite thing to talk about, which is love. Love is a virtue, right? A lot of times we can grow up in tough situations, and like I said, our environment really does shape us besides being raised by certain people. Love truly is a virtue, because a lot of people can grow up to hate, grow up to envy, grow up to anything that's easy for the mind to grasp, which is negative, because those are easier to understand, go through, and just be. It's windy out here. When love truly is a virtue, right? Let's say you have a group of friends, and 2 of your friends out of that group, is a group of 5 of y'all, did not like each other, right? But you love them all, and they have to spend time with each other regardless, because you are the mutual friend of the whole entire friend group in general, right? So love is a virtue, right? You have to practice love every day, seeing things in a better lens, a positive lens. Even if you didn't like that person at first, eventually you're gonna get used to them, their company, their energy, and love them. Because regardless, love is true. It's a harmonizing energy that people cannot get rid of despite whatever they go through. Another example, love for your parents. Some people are raised right, some people are raised wrong. Let's say you had a tough upbringing and your parents brought lots of trauma to you, right? You heal yourself, and regardless, you love your parents, regardless if they effed you up in the mind or not. You know what I'm saying? They're immature in certain aspects, whether that be emotional, mental, or spiritual. A lot of times in this generation, we are debunking a lot of what the older generations have gone through because they were more conservative. We are debunking the ways to communicate, and we're just more open to things changing because we're asking more questions, we're asking why. Love is a virtue, because to step out every day in a world full of evil, in a world full of lies, and still turn around and want to show love and have appreciation for the things that deserve love is very powerful, right? And a prime example, being in love, right? This one has a mixture of trust, peace, and patience because of the fact of, yes, love is a virtue when you just have that one person or two people, if you're polyamorous, to choose them every day, right? Love is not easy. Love was never easy. There is no book on how to love correctly. Everybody loves differently, and it's all about trying, right? So love will always be a virtue because every day we are given that person's other perspective, other point of view, other personality, and we have to love them through and through because of the fact that we want to try. And that is a mixture of all four, because you have to want to trust that person, you have to find peace within the disagreements, have discernment with that person, and you also have to have patience. That, because everyone is like an onion, right? There are layers to the human experience, so there are layers to being human, and there are layers to opening up to your person, to opening up to anybody for real, whether that be your friends, whether that be your lover, or even your family. Everybody could always give a shallow output to the people around them, but truly, everything takes time. That's why patience will always be the first thing. I would definitely say, if I could rank them, I would definitely say patience, trust, love, and peace. One second. I low-key felt like I was walking the wrong way, and I knew I was walking the wrong way, because sometimes these blocks will have a cut block in between a long block, and I was walking down a long block that the block that I need to be on is part of a cut block. And they really say this is the concrete jungle because it really is. You could get lost if you don't know where you're going. But luckily, I watch my surroundings, and so something just flew in my eye. A message I could definitely say to the collective, to whoever's watching, is that have patience, have trust, have love, and have peace. And if you need some affirmations today to help you out throughout this process, I'll be here to help with that. So I'm gonna start us off. I am patient. I am trust. I am peace. I am love. I am patient throughout my process to greatness. I trust that the process of greatness is for me. I have peace within the obstacles of my process to greatness. And I love the process to greatness. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of times, us humans, we're conscious beings, and we definitely love to live in our mind. But don't let your mind go in overdrive by overthinking and thinking that you can't or can, or just that you're not here yet, or that you made it already, so what's the next step? No. Remember, everything is happening for us, not to us. So it's better to just go with the flow of the universe. Remember the laws of the universe. And remember to just have patience, trust, peace, and love. Because those 4 pillars, which is not automatically the 4 pillars of life for real. Those are just another 4 pillars that are important in this life, are something that should be remembered, something that should be applied within your life, because you never know what will happen with the actual application of this knowledge within your life. do or do not, there is no try. So I hope this message truly resonates with whatever soul connects with this video. And again, have a blessed one wherever you are, day or night, however you're feeling. I hope and pray that you will remember that day by day it gets better and better, and every day we get 1% better regardless. So with that being said, it's MS.ABAG. Peace.